Are you ready to unlock the mysteries of our planet's amazing waters? Join our scientists on their quest to understand, protect, and keep our oceans and other vital water bodies healthy. Discover how they work on research vessels, take measurements, run experiments, build computer models, and use satellites to observe water around the globe. So, let's dive in and start exploring.
There are all sorts of systems where the nutrient and carbon cycle play a central role. Today we're going to explore a system that is important to us every single day, our food system. And how we produce food has changed a lot. Human agriculture dates back around 12,000 years, but industrial farming began in the 1800s with new machinery that boosted efficiency and reduced manual labour. Today's industrial agriculture uses large-scale machinery, synthetic fertilisers and pest control to produce vast amounts of food for a growing global population. At first glance, that sounds like a win-win situation, right? More food, less back-breaking labour. What's not to love? Well, industrial agriculture has also brought a lot of environmental problems with it. But today, we've come to Elston Farm to talk to Andy Gray, who is doing a lot to try and heal our food systems. What is the problem with farming today, in your opinion, and how are you doing things differently here at Elston Farm?
Farming can be very polluting and it can have an adverse effect on the environment. It also has the capacity to be very good for the environment and actually dramatically reduce that pollution. We just have to be more intelligent about the way we look at it, the way we approach it, and possibly the way we pay for it.
What's your approach to reducing your impact?
So we've got a certain amount of livestock on this farm. We've got some beef, cattle and some deer, but we also grow some crops as well. And they all come with their challenges when it comes to pollution. Pollution effectively is a resource which I've put on the landscape, which I've lost off the landscape. So I paid for things like nitrogen fertiliser and phosphorus and potash and things like that. And when they get into watercourses, they can cause damage. I don't want them to go to the watercourses because I paid for them. So it's really interesting to work with Plymouth Marine Laboratories to look at how much we're losing and different ways of intervening and stopping these elements escaping. The more times they go round and round in my system, the more value I get from them and the less damage I do to the watercourses and the sea through algal blooms and that sort of thing. The really important one is actually better soil management, because things like phosphorus lock onto the soil particulates, and when you lose them through erosion of your soils, which you really don't want to do as a farmer, but does happen, then that phosphorus gets into watercourses and causes damage. Nitrogen being more soluble, that's sort of slightly more slippery and can escape just because it rains and it washes through the soils. But good soils produce pores in the soils. Good soil management produces structures which hold on to water in the soils better. If those waters stay there, then my plants can get at it better, and that just allows those elements to be used by the plants whether I want them, rather than being flushed away. So soils which retain water can stop flooding, they can stop nutrient loss, they can lock up carbon. Everybody wins. Soils which are badly managed, everybody loses.
You're doing what you can for it, you're working with scientists. We've got Andy upstream taking the samples so that you know what's going on here so that you can take action. What do you hope that consumers, people, everyone that eats food can do? Like, what can they do to support sort of this transition towards more regenerative farming practices?
In some ways, those that can afford to look at the food they're buying and be more imaginative about it, and actually, address their own biome in their own bodies by buying better nutrient-dense food, is a good start. But at the same time, there's an awful lot of, we've suddenly become aware. I mean, I've been aware forever, but our rivers are in a very poor state, and our sea is full of algal blooms and that sort of thing. We are doing terrific damage to our environment. So that upswelling of public opinion and pushing politicians to accept this. We know, or we have all the answers. We just don't have the political will to actually deliver these answers. We can solve most of these problems. It's we're in an optimistic place from a point of view of understanding. And we've got all this brilliant science behind us and the Andes of this world looking at how to make the world better. It's just getting that knowledge out to our farmers and our land managers, but more so getting our politicians to actually back what we're doing. Because every pound you spend on improving the lands, the way we farm, you get it back multiple times in the lack of damage you do.
I really like that hopeful note that you had, and it's putting your money in the right places.
We all buy into it, we all win.
Exactly. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much.
It's
I've
a
learned a
pleasure.
lot, and
Thank
it's
you.
been really lovely to see your farm.
Thank you.
And we'll go see what Andy's up to now. How we farm doesn't just affect the land. The consequences of our farming practices can find their way into the ocean via waterways like rivers. My colleague Ellen and I are going to take you along as we speak to Plymouth Marine Laboratory scientists who are doing science to understand how farming can impact the ocean and rivers.